Hey everyone! Today, we're diving into one of the most powerful tools out there for understanding how a system really works, the data flow diagram, or DFD. It's all about making the invisible visible. Exactly. I mean, just think about it for a second. When you order a pizza, or sign up for a class, or buy literally anything online, there's all this data flying around behind the scenes. But how do you actually follow its path? How can you see that invisible journey? Well, that's where the data flow diagram comes in. A DFD is basically a map for your data. It's not about getting lost in the weeds of code or program logic. Nope, it gives you this fantastic, high-level view of where your data is coming from, where it's headed, and how it gets changed along the way. And you know the best part about DFDs is that their language is incredibly simple. To draw this data map, you really only need to learn 4 basic symbols. And once you've got these down, you can pretty much read any DFD you come across. Okay, first up, we have the process. This is kind of the action hero of the diagram. It takes data in, it does something to it, and then it sends it back out, changed. You can think of a process as a verb, like calculate total, register student, or for a pizza shop, take customer order. It's where the real work happens. Right. And next, you've got the data store. So if a process is the action, the data store is the memory. It's shown as 2 parallel lines, and you can just picture it as a digital filing cabinet or, a big customer spreadsheet. It's where data just hangs out, waiting for a process to come and grab it. Our third symbol is the external entity, which you might also hear called a source or a sink. It's just a square, and it represents anything outside of our system that either sends data in, that's a source, or receives data out, that's a sink. Think of these as the borders of your map. It could be a person, like a customer, or even another department, like management. And finally, tying it all together is the data flow. It's just an arrow. This is the actual road on our data map. It shows you the exact direction the information is moving, like, say, from the customer entity straight to the take customer order process. Simple as that. So now you've got the 4 symbols, but DFDs have another really cool feature. They're built in layers. This means you can start with this huge bird's eye view of everything, and then zoom all the way in to see the tiny little details. Let's break down how that works. It honestly works just like zooming in on a map app. You start with what's called the context diagram. That's like the whole country view, where your entire system is just one big box. Then you explode that box into a level 0 diagram. Now you're at the state view, seeing the main functions inside. And from there, you can zoom in even further to a child diagram, which is like the city view for super specific details. All right, enough theory. Let's make this totally real. We are going to map out the data flow for a business that I think we can all understand. A little local pizza shop we'll call Perfect Pizza. Okay, so this is our 30,000-foot view, the context diagram. At this highest level, the entire order system is treated as just one single process. We only see what's happening on the outside: the customer, the cook, management, and the delivery person, and the main chunks of data flowing in and out, like customer orders going in and weekly reports coming out. And now, let's zoom in to the level 0 diagram. That single order system process from before, it gets exploded into its main parts. So now we can see these separate steps like find customer record, take customer order, and send order to cook. And, this is key, for the very first time, we get to see the system's internal memory, the customer master, and customer history data stores, which were totally hidden from us at that higher level. Okay, there's one last really important distinction to make. DFDs come in 2 main flavors: logical and physical. And really, it's just the difference between mapping what the system does versus how it actually gets it done. Yeah, a logical DFD is like the business plan. It shows the core activities, like take a customer order, but it doesn't care how it happens. Is it over the phone, through an app, or in person? It doesn't matter. But the physical DFD, that's the technical blueprint. It gets really specific, showing if a process is manual, if a data store is an Excel spreadsheet, or if a report gets sent by email. And this example from a university's registration system just shows it perfectly. In this physical DFD, you can see that checking prerequisites is a manual process, meaning a person is actually doing it. But enrolling the student is automated, and it's done by a specific computer system named STARS. You'd never see those kinds of details on a logical DFD. Okay, so you have the symbols, you've got the levels, you've got the types. You're almost ready to go. But before you start drawing, to make sure your diagrams actually make sense, there are a few golden rules you absolutely have to keep in mind. These are really just the fundamentals. So a process can't be a black hole. Data has to come in and something has to go out. But the most important thing here is that passive things can't act on their own. Data stores and external entities, they don't have brains. They can't just decide to talk to each other. A process always has to be the go-between. And here is the single most common mistake people make. They draw an arrow going directly from one data store to another one. I mean, it seems like it should work, but it's a huge no-no. And why? Well, because data stores are passive. A spreadsheet can't just decide to send its data over to a database. Information can't just magically teleport between two filing cabinets. The fix is so simple. You just need a process to do the work. The process, our verb, remember, has to actively go get the data from that first data store, maybe do something to it, and then put it in the second one. The process is the engine that actually moves the data from point A to point B. So that's the data flow diagram. It's a simple but an incredibly powerful way to actually see how information moves around. It helps us understand the structure of really complex systems and trace data from the very beginning to the very end. So the next time you order a coffee or use an app on your phone, just take a second. Try to picture the processes, the data stores, and the flows that are happening behind the curtain. Now that you can map the flow of data, what invisible systems around you are you going to start to see?